Hello, everybody. Oh, we've got one waiting. Let me check the website real quick to see if we've got questions. Oh, it's asking me to log in. I don't know why. So, all right. Doesn't look like any questions have come in. So, what do we want to talk about? Any questions that we can start with? Let me get my horn real quick. All right. All right. So, not sure what to talk about right now if we don't have any questions. That's been a long time since we've had no questions. So whoever wants to ask the first question, you get a bonus. Huh? Extra time, huh? Any questions? Oh, let me turn that off. It's a little bit better that way. All right, we're getting people. Who wants to step up and ask the first question? Doesn't have to be music questions, trumpet questions. Okay. Hello, Dennis. Dennis says, thinking of moving on from Chops Pro to the next level. How do I know it's time? There's certain things I look for, especially in the tonalization studies. And oh, now we're getting. Let me. Especially in the tonalization studies, when you have in the tonalization studies you get up to the top, right? And you accidentally go out of the high C range. Let me see if I can fake that. So let's say you're doing the tonalization studies. So what a lot of people will do, and I tried to fake it, it didn't come out so well, is they'll do the fingering for going down, but they'll still keep going up because their ear is hearing that, right? What your ear is hearing, right? That's what your ear is hearing, but you're playing the fingering that you're actually seeing, right? And so you have this like note that accidentally pops out higher than the high C. And usually when it happens, this is the coolest thing, right? Usually when it happens, it's cleaner and and more beautiful than the notes you were playing. Right? It's when I hear it happen, it's like, okay, so now we have evidence that the chops are strong enough for that. And what's missing is the control. Right? And the same thing with the lip slurs, right? If you have that, where it pops out high like that, it's hard for me to fake that. So those are the kind of things I'm looking for, is accidents, mistakes, crack notes that pop out higher than what we're used to. Alongside with that, what we're also looking for is an increased endurance at that level. So if you're at the pro level and you're playing that routine and not getting tired. Now, fatigue is a subjective thing. I've got students that if there's any sign of fatigue, they consider that enough fatigue to say, "Oh, I didn't make it through the whole thing without getting fatigued." I don't know how to measure that. For myself, there are acceptable levels of fatigue that I just keep playing, and that's hard to communicate. So that the fatigue one is a little bit more difficult to communicate to the students, right? Now, if you say I got through it and didn't have any fatigue, then that's a sign. The problem is, there's both sides of the issue, right? There's people who, like I just said, I suspect that they're not truly fatigued, but they feel something that they don't normally feel, and they say, "Oh, I've got fatigue." There's that. There's people who are not as fatigued as they say they are. And then you have on the other side, you have people who say they're not tired at all, who have great deals of fatigue. So that, like I said, that's hard to communicate without being in a lesson. That really is. But as a general rule, fatigue is part of it. If you get through the routine and you don't get tired, then you're probably ready for the next level. Now, I will tell you that jumping from pro to the master one is one of the more difficult jumps. What I will recommend, and I don't know if you know this already, before you switch to the full chops pro, make sure you do for a few weeks the chops express at that level first. I have a system for walking up into the next level. So for the pro one, let me get my chart. I have a handy dandy poster that tells you which levels you should be doing on which day, right? So at the pro level, you're going to do a Monday apprentice, Tuesday pro, Wednesday tyro, Thursday player, Friday pro, and then Saturday is the pioneer. That doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make sense to me. that's not what I would do. Let me see. Apprentice Pro, Player Pro. Let me write this out. That doesn't make sense. I made that chart a long time ago. So what we're looking at is the top one being 5. So Monday through Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Tuesday would be 5. Friday would be 4. Back 2 from Tuesday would be 3, 1, 2, and then 1 again. So Dennis says the high C's at the end of the tonguing exercise are iffy, but I am not terribly tired at the end of the routine. See, that could be a sign that you're ready to move on. That pro routine is endurance challenge, and if you're not tired at the end of that, then yeah, that's not that's a good indicator of where you're at. Hello, Karen. Nice to see you. So, if you're using this pattern or something similar to it, so this would be player, pro, pioneer, tyro, apprentice, and then pioneer again. If you're using that, the first thing we want to do is change the Tuesday, keep everything the same, and change the Tuesday. Now, this is not science, by the way. You know, I looked up, I know this is a tangent. I looked up, because I have this book called The Scientific Method for Trumpet. And I looked it up, and I wanted to see what they meant by scientific. And it's a method that's over 100 years old. And 100 years ago, the word scientific was just an advertising word that people were using to sell stuff. Let that sink in. We have the exact same thing today. We call it, it's an amazing logical fallacy. I think it's called something like an appeal to science or something like that. So I'm not saying that my stuff is scientific. I get overly structured people who will send emails in and to criticize these orders that I come up with. There's 3 different orders, 4 different orders, and they don't all exactly match. The reason they don't all exactly match is because it's a general guideline. You know, most people's lives can't fit this in, right? I make it fit because this is what I do for a living and it's my system. So what we would do is take this, make every day exactly the same. So your first step is keep your Monday the same, keep your Wednesday the same, keep your Tuesday the same, Friday the same, Saturday the same, but make your Tuesday 1 level higher, but at the express level. So on Tuesday, you would do the master routine out of the Chops Express book. Okay? And then you do that until you're comfortable with that. I hope that makes sense. Do that until you've settled in. Then, when that's comfortable, move. You can start moving these others. So yeah, let's move all these others up one. So you're going to have 4, 6, express, 2, 3, 5, and 1. Ha! Someone's going happy with the smiley faces. All right. So the next step is to increase all of those. Then we move it to something like that. Now, like I said, this is not science. So your week is now 4. That's apprentice, master, tyro. I'm trying to read backwards. Player, pro, and pioneer. Now, like I said, it's not exact. You do it in a way that works for you with your schedule. But yes, the whole idea is to creep up to that level. And that's especially important at that level, going from the pro to the master, because pro to the master tends to be the hardest switch out of all of them. I think it's even harder than going to the last level, quite frankly. I think going to the virtuoso level, once you've mastered the master level, the virtuoso stuff is just a little bit more of the same. So anyway, that's a good question. I don't think that was the most coherent answer, but I hope I made it clear. Karen says, how important would you say the order of levels is? I tend to mix things up depending on my schedule. That's the way you just said it is the right way to do it. Whatever your schedule has. Now, is there a system for that? Yes. We want two hard days, right? 2 medium days and 2 easy days. A day off is an easy day. So if you have a day where you're forced to practice not at all or just a tiny little bit, then that's one of your easy days. And you have to make that work for you. If you only practice 2 days out of the week, you might as well practice. And I'm not saying that, don't get me wrong, Karen, I'm not saying that that's what your situation. I'm saying hypothetically, this is what I have to do. Sometimes there's weeks I don't get much time to practice. If I only have 2 days to practice, then I'm going to do what I'm telling you. They'll both probably be my highest routine. Now, that said, if those 2 days are adjacent, then you want to have only one of them be a hard day and the other one. So, Jack says, my audio is very buggy. Is this true? Is that just him or is it everybody? Are you guys having trouble? Oh, I just started. Let me see if I can. I've never tried this before. Let me see if I can add a microphone. It might not let me do this in the middle of a stream. I hope this is the same cable. I don't see the cable. Oh, I remember where I put it. Alright, here we go. I've never tried adding a microphone halfway through the talking. Okay, let's see what I can do here. Check. Oh, look at that. Okay, I don't see a place to change it. Oh, that's not good. Karen says she can understand, but the sound is filled with static. Where do I change that? Let me see if I can do this. No. Yeah, there's no place to change. I see that the levels are maxed out. Huh. Oh, look at this. There's a share screen button. What a great... No, this is the first time we've had this happen. Oh, man. Let me see if I can go into the microphone from... Yeah, this might be the problem with the camera, because that's where the microphone is coming through. If it cleans up, tell me, so that I don't keep looking. to try something. Yeah, I don't see. Yeah, I don't think it lets me change the mic in the middle.